I'm here with Michael of Queensrÿche. They're playing in Toronto tonight. They're touring across North America on what it's dubbed the Origins Tour. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time today to chat with me about the tour, about the band. How is the tour treating you guys so far?
Well, we've been out on the road, I think, since February. And we're doing great. I mean, this tour is very successful for us. You know, the fans for years have been wanting this kind of a show. You know, let's do the origins of the band, the beginnings of the band, the EP and the warning, you know, together, and it's really turned into a great tour. And you know, every show, people are just blown away.
I get a feeling like the fans are being blown away by it, but you guys are also being blown away by the reception that you're getting, and the enthusiasm that the fans are giving you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing fans that are coming out that are, you know, a little older, kind of like me, you know, and
Like me. Yeah.
and you know, you know, reliving the time when these albums came out, and it's amazing from my viewpoint of the stage, seeing people just, they hear a song and they go, oh, you know, like they haven't heard it in, you know, 20 years or something like that, and you know, it's just great, you know, seeing the reactions and people singing all the lyrics. My gosh, it's like, you know, and then you have, you know, the younger audience who's checking us out and just, you know, right up in front, and it's really just been a great tour so far, you know, and we're really happy that we could come into Canada and do a few shows. So it's really great to be here.
I'm really happy. I'm one of those fans that has the original EP on vinyl when it came out. I purchased that. And I discover you guys, going back to that vinyl, I discover you guys watching Headbangers Ball. Queen of the Reich video came on, and I was like, wow, this is a mixture of Conan and Flash Gordon. That was a little bit... when you look back at that video, what's your fondest memories?
Oh, it was you know, kind of comical in a sense, but yeah, I mean, it was our first real video, right? You know, on a set, and the set next to us was some, you know, space movie or something. So we asked them if we could use some of their stuff. Wow. And hence, you know, the whole story came around, kind of a spin-off on Star Wars and everything. So, but yeah, you look at it and you look at the effects back then, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It's one of those things that the video, you could say that technically did not age well, but it's kind of become a classic, if you will. I mean, that's what makes it a classic.
It is, you know, and obviously the song speaks for itself. I mean, it's you know, our first single, our first song, and still to this day, it's demanded by the you know, audience.
It had an impact on me. So because I watched that video on Headbangers Ball, I had never heard of the band. I saw that video, and more than the video was the song. Like this, it's such a powerful track. It's such a great song that I was like, okay, I got to put all my little money together that I have as a young kid and go to the store and buy this vinyl. So for as much as now looking back at the video, it seems a little silly, it did its job, and it drove people to the record stores to buy the record. It
did, and you know, to this day, it's like it's the song that gets people pumped. They start tapping their foot, and yeah, that's, you know, puts them in a good mood. So, and you know, we do a great job in performing that song.
And so you guys are performing the EP and the debut record. There's a little bit of nostalgia in the air. Do you see nostalgia as a good thing, or in some cases could nostalgia become a little bit of a problem when you try to continue to grow and you try to continue to develop and always pushing new boundaries?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's the nostalgic aspect of it is great for moments of time. You know, a little bit. We're a band that still puts out records, so it's, for us, you know, it's important to keep in that aspect of moving forward and stretching the boundaries of our creativity. And then at that point, it's a balancing act of old and new.
You have to find that balance because you have to, especially when it comes to the set lists. Not the case with this tour because you're forced to play the records from start to finish. But you guys have an incredible discography. I'm sure when a regular tour, let's call it that way, that comes around, you're scratching your head in terms of what we put in and what we take out because there's obviously new material that you have to support as well.
It's crazy. It's like looking at a Chinese menu. It's like.
I've never heard anybody describe it like that, but that's pretty good.
It's like, let's see, what decade do we want to do? And it's like
it's like a buffet almost of great songs.
It's just you have so much time to get ready for a tour, and it's like we don't want to overload the band with too many deep cuts that they have to learn, and so. It's like I said, it's a balance. We try and keep new songs that are off our albums, and just blend them in. And it seems, most a good percentage of the audience knows that, oh, this is a new one. This is cool, And then you got other fans that are casual, I guess, that know us for the big albums in the 90s, right? And so it's you have to tread lightly. You can't go too crazy this era, in this decade, or too crazy in that era of the albums. So it's just getting a good balance that everybody in the band agrees, and then and that's kind of how we do it. And it's a reflection on what the fans want as well.
You mentioned you don't want to overburden, if you will, the band with having to learn a lot of different discography. Well, how was it for you guys now having to play some of these songs you haven't played in a long time? So did you have to relearn any of them?
Yeah, a couple of them. The song I wrote, Before the Storm, that's a doozy. That's in some wild time signatures, and No Sanctuary. I think we may have performed it a couple times, but all the other songs we've basically been playing here and there.
Yeah.
Because it's people wanted to hear those old songs for so long, and they weren't being played. So we. It wasn't too bad, It wasn't. We definitely had to sharpen our skills because when we wrote those songs, I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think like that anymore. So to get back in that headspace, it's, it was a bit of a project.
So was it fun to rediscover some of these tracks?
Oh, definitely. And like I said, we're having a blast playing these.
Are you tweaking anything at all with some of these songs? Maybe realizing, this little thing here would have made more sense back then, or you try to keep everything as close to the original as possible?
It's pretty damn close to the original. Maybe the endings or something, or the beginning. I don't know. Maybe a little bit different, but it's true to the album.
What record in the discography has helped you the most to develop as a guitar player?
Well, definitely The Warning, because we were experimental, we were stretching our boundaries, and hadn't really put a definitive point of what we were yet. It was still kind of an experimental thing. We were influenced by a bit of this and a bit of that, but that album kind of paved the way for me as a guitar player because, we went to London to record The Warning and a few different studios with a renowned producer, James Guthrie, who had just recorded The Wall.
Wow.
So I was a sponge, I was just absorbing everything. And as a player, you just learn and adapt. And I think, those were the formative years that kind of enriched me as a guitar player to find my niche.
Are you still that sponge now with the experience that you have? You still finding ways and you know, rediscovering some new ways of doing things?
You know, I put my trust in the unknown. When riffs appear, you know, like when you're sitting on the couch watching TV, playing the guitar, and then all of a sudden you're playing something you didn't realize you were playing. Those are the good moments, you know, and then they can be built into something, you know, and you start hearing things in your head and you start dreaming them, and you know, it's inspiration comes in many different forms, and you just have to be aware of it and believe it.
When you guys were on that set of Queen of the Reich, did you ever think that you would be sitting here today with the discography that you've built, with the legacy that the band has, and with an incredible fan base that has followed you guys?
No, like you know, it's like we were in our young 20s. What were you doing in your young 20s? We weren't thinking about the future like that. You know, it's like we were thinking of
maybe you had a master
how do we
plan.
get our next gig? How do we, you know? It's like.
But you guys didn't have like these thoughts. We want to be the biggest band in the world. Did that ever cross your mind at that time?
No, I think it was, you know, it's the creative element of the band's influences that made us what we are. You know, it was diverse influences that just kind of worked, and it's, you know, and in those days it was like, you know, we were a band of brothers, and we believed in what we were doing, and it was fresh, you know, and it was inspirational. So, and it's very rare, you know, that you can get 5 guys who have different influences creatively, that actually
Mesh that well together. Yeah.
You know, because sometimes it can be quite the opposite.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Is there, from these 2 records, is there a song that you enjoy playing more than all others, that when you guys announce a tour, you're like, yes, I'm gonna get to do this song every night?
Yeah, I think the song "Before the Storm." You know, I wrote those riffs, and they're pretty crazy. They're in different time signatures, and it's a challenge to play. And so, you know, it's kind of we haven't played that song since 1985.
Wow. That's a long time.
Right. You know, so I'm going on YouTube, looking for these performances, and going, oh, let's see, how did I play that?
That is crazy. That is crazy. That's what you have to do.
Mm-hmm. And but yeah, that's a fun one to play. Also, NM156 doing the double solo. It's
classic.
Yeah, and it's as a guitar player, it's really fun to play.
One last question for you. You mentioned the record that influenced you the most, or that changed you the most, and that made you the guitar player that you are today. When it comes to the discography of the band, what record do you think the fans don't give it enough credit, from your standpoint, knowing what that album perhaps meant for you guys?
I don't know. I think Promised Land, I think, was kind of more of an introspective album. It was, you know, we'd just come off of a huge album, Empire, and I think it's you know, it's got a lot of tasty bits in there, and it's great songs, and I think you know, it doesn't quite get the recognition as the others.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful show in Toronto and a wonderful tour. You guys are going to be on the road for a long time playing these songs, so you're just kind of at the halfway mark.
Right.
You have to keep doing your Pilates and your exercises and stretching.
Yeah.
You're going to need it. So thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.